Hello, and welcome to the Ideal Auto Factory. Today, you're going to learn about a very special RC drift car that just released not too long ago. I'm talking about the Bingo RC Designs Hachi. Keep God first, let's get into this video. Now, if you're new here, I pretty much talk about everything RC drift, pretty much anything along the lines of RC drifting, rear wheel drive, and occasionally I talk about vinyl wrapping too. Well, today's video, I'm going to be bringing your attention to the Bingo RC Designs Hachi chassis. It's a straight axle RC drift chassis, and it doesn't have like coilover dampers. Like, it's actually pretty innovative, pretty unique, something different on the market. So let's dive in and get a closer look at this chassis. Now on the outside, I did opt to put my carbon fiber 350Z body on this. It is not finished. This is a full option body, and I'm still working on it. But under here is the actual Hachi chassis, and as you can see, let's just talk about the width here. It is a good width for a RC drift chassis, so you don't have to worry about any problems there. As you can see, the fitment's nice. Wheels are good. Now, let's go ahead and take the body off to see what we're working with. And there it is. There's the chassis, the Hachi by Bingo RC. I'll show you right there. There you see Bingo, and there you see Hachi right there in the center of your screen. Now, the word Hachi actually means bee in Japanese, so it keeps the whole theme going with the design that is offered on all of the carbon fiber upgrade kits that he makes for other chassis. I do have a silver weave carbon version, and it is really beautiful. I like the carbon fiber weave on there. It sits down there, it looks really nice instead of just being your regular black. I love it. I am enjoying it now. Out of the box, it was a great build. It took me about an hour to hour and a half-ish. Again, no dampers, so I didn't have to use oil. The axle in the rear was already pre-built. Didn't have to worry about that. All I had to do was mount a body pretty much after putting everything together. So let's go over some key features of this chassis. Number one, direct drive steering. So the servo's right here, and then under the servo is the servo horn, and then a full accessible area right there. And if you look in there, you see there's a little line. You see that little line right there? That's an alignment mark for that screw, and it is a base setting for the Ackerman in the front. So direct drive steering means the servo is directly connected to the steering links via a plate. There's no wipers, there's no slide rack. Notice how the wheels turn back? Well, that's because of an innovative piece of tech that is also 3D printed on here. But before I get into that, because this car is not turned on, I'm turning this and it turns back, right? Before I get into that, let's talk about the caster adjustment up top. You can zoom in. I'm going to zoom in. You don't zoom in. I zoom in. Here is the caster adjustment. There are 3 caster adjustments. You can go from 0 degrees to 4 degrees to 10 degrees of caster. You do not adjust the bottom. You don't adjust anything on the bottom, although the bottom arm is like a 2-piece design here. It is made out of a TPU piece. You can see there that shiny piece right there that the screws are on. That shiny piece is flexible. It flexes. So really cool there. And then this is like solid, like Pet G style piece here, and you screw in your turnbuckle into that. And then you get FlexiFlex. And look at that. That's your spring, McPherson strut style front end there. That's your spring. And then you have a 3D printed knuckle. And basically it's all in-house, you know, like it's been tested, proven at Adrenaline Raceway, and just an overall great chassis to own. I am blown away. But I'm not gonna ramble off about that too much. Like I said, there it is. That's the front end, and I'll show you now the piece right here. So what you see here is a steering damper. If I move it to the left, you can sort of see it right there. You See the steering damper? And that is connected directly to the servo horn, and it also is braced right here. It's a loop. I'll show you that in another picture. But pretty much this, coupled with a piece that connects to the servo horn, whenever you turn this servo on, usually direct drive steering systems, they have a lot of shake, and you don't want that. So Rudy made something very special. We went back and forth a little bit. It's pretty cool to talk to to the person who actually designed this chassis, and he does it very well. So he takes care of you. So yeah, we talked about like, okay, the front end shakes a little bit, with the direct drive, and we found out it's not a gyro thing, it's just a servo thing in direct drive. Nothing dampens the steering. So he made a steering dampener, and that's what's on my chassis. Yours may not have that, but mine does. So with the steering damper, we now have gone over caster, we've got toe, and of course camber adjusted with turnbuckles and everything like that. You got your track width adjustable down there. A front bumper is 3D printed, or you can upgrade to a carbon fiber version. Body post, I opted for standoffs. I found these myself, but they do come with standard body posts, like, with the holes in them. Now, on to the rear. Before we get to the middle, I'm going to talk about the rear end. Now, this battery is one of the like 7 or 8 choices you could do. You could go here, you go a little further back, you go a little more forward, you could turn it sideways, you go forward, you go back. There's so many options right there. You see, I'm on the low pro side, so if you pick this whole battery post off and flip it over, you can run, thicker batteries as well. Great, such a great feature of this chassis. I'll go ahead and take this out. And you can see there the body post in the rear, also adjustable. You can move them where you need to. So in the straight axle here, I'm going to show you the drive shaft and the U-joint, and then this here. Pretty much, I'm showing you the spur gear holder, and basically that connects to the U-joint via this big 3D printed piece right here. And then there's also a bearing in there too. So spur gear directly connected to the drive shaft, which is connected to the axle in the rear. I do have mine, kind of offset, but not really. There was a little bit of vibration that came from doing exactly what the manual said, but the manual should be updated now. Sometimes straight axles just have that quirk, but there's the main attraction there. The straight axle in the rear with the damper. That's also TPU, the little squishy squish. There you go. Now, you may think to yourself, okay, it doesn't have shocks, so it must not oscillate or do anything like that. It definitely does. It can go left. You can see that. See that? It's going left. It's going left. It's going right. You don't need a lot of motion, although I love weight shift. You don't need a lot of motion or oscillation from your RC drift car, because these surfaces are so flat and so smooth, not mine as much, smooth part, that you don't need all of that suspension going on. You don't need it to be an off-road vehicle. So that's where this chassis takes advantage of simplicity in the form of getting your flexibility from the lower chassis having basically 2 thin braces for the axle. So now in the rear, you can flex a lot there, and that allows all the movement you need from out of your suspension, in a sense. So the chassis integrates itself into the suspension by being the suspension. It identifies as suspension as well. So that's the rear. That's the axle. It is solid, and that gives you a full, it's a spool as well, so it gives you full contact patch center, and also it gives you both wheels spinning at the same time, like welded diff style. As far as the motor goes, this is cool because the motor is mounted to the motor plate and then the carbon fiber piece right here, and you get your gear mesh set by these 2 adjustment screws here. So in there are adjustment screws, and pretty much If you loosen this and you loosen that, you think, oh man, I lost my gear mesh. I gotta do something about that. Well, first let me tell you about gear mesh. So if your gear mesh is too tight, if this gear is touching too much of this gear is touching too much of that gear, you end up with strain on your drivetrain because there will be grinding instead of just motion happening. You'll end up wearing out your teeth, and then you also won't allow this motor to work the way it's designed to. Right there, you can see there's a actual grub screw. And basically, it's in the manual too, how to do this. So read your manual as well as watch this video. Thank you for watching. This plate right here allows you to put a screw in here and a screw in there. And as you rotate them, tighten them, you raise your motor up. And as you loosen them, you drop your motor down. And then you can get a perfect gear mesh every time. You don't have to hold this and manipulate the screw here and then manipulate that one. Once you get this gear mesh tight and nice via these adjustment screws, you just tighten it down and you're good to go. And so that's the motor and the motor mount, and that's it. Then there's no adjustment for rebound, adjustment for shocks and all this other stuff. That is the chassis. Very simple, very straight to the point. There is adjustable wheelbase. If you look here on the rear axle, you see those two screws there and those two over there? Yeah, you just move those up and down and you get +3, -3, +6, -6. Yeah, you get a different wheelbase. I actually had to adjust my wheelbase for that body. So, yeah, it's really nice. I'm very grateful to own this chassis. I'm very grateful to have talked with Rudy from Bingo RC. And of course, now I have to show you some upgrades that you can get. So check this out. The first thing is the custom front. I say again, custom front upper deck. This allows you to run like Shark DDSS. It allows you to run Team AD or Rev D RDX front end. And it's pretty cool because it revolutionizes the whole system of what the Hachi is. Imagine a straight axle rear end, and then you got a Rev D RDX front end. Like, that is just really cool, and it's kind of what a lot of people have been wanting for a long time, and I'm really glad it's here now. Now up next is the weight forward upper deck. This allows you to put your motor a little more forward than where it is currently, a little more closer to the servo, and it's like it says, weight more forward, and it gives you a different drive feel. It allows you to change up basically your whole chassis, gives a more scale feel to it, or if you really think about it, a scale kind of thought process behind it. The motor's in the front mostly instead of in the rear, more like a real car. Now let's get to driving the Bingo RC Hachi chassis. The chassis is very smooth, very direct, given that it is a spool-driven rear axle, and the direct drive front steering system leaves no room for errors when it comes to what you feel from your fingertips or your remote to actually translating it to the vehicle. Beginner friendly and also built for the advanced driver in mind. Therefore, it is a good balance of the two. Easy to build, easy to put together, easy to get started, and fine-tuning ability is still there for the advanced folks. Certain ESCs may not have reverse motor rotation, so please go ahead and watch my video on how to change your motor rotation. Specifically, with this one, the most right way to do it would be to take the actual axle housing apart with all of these screws right here. You take that out and then you switch the ring gear to the other side. That's how you change the rotation of the wheels so that the car goes forward. If it doesn't, I believe the Furitech ESCs are one of the ones that if you put them in here with the motor, they will rotate the wrong way and you won't be able to drive it forward unless you do that switch in here. Another cool thing about the chassis is the drive shaft right here. I do have mine sort of offset, but not in the way that it says in the manual. Again, I said the manual should be updated to reflect that. The rear end vibrated a little more than needed, and that was because of the imbalance of the drive shaft. And lastly, the final drive ratio. If you notice, my pinion on this chassis is I believe it's a 18, 17, something like that. And then I have a 90 tooth spur on this chassis. The reason why is because the two wheels spinning at the same speed at such a high RPM, you lose all your traction. So lower RPMs, that's why this chassis loves a 13.5T motor. It comes with a spur and a pinion, so you should be good there, but definitely turn down that boost and turbo on your motor if you're taking it out of another chassis. So that's the full Hachi chassis. Hope you learned something. Thank you, Bingo RC, for taking this step into the hobby by producing your very own chassis and making it something that all drifters can enjoy from beginner to advanced. Thank you all for watching. This is the Bingo Hachi chassis, and I'll catch you in another video. Keep God first. Peace.